we have a special matchup next. It really is going to be kind of like a clash of the titans between Raisy and K1llsen for our second last series of the night. Welcome back, everybody, to week number 8 of the Quake Pro League Stage 2. My name's Ketchup, and I'm joined by Flea. I mean, there really is. I hope we can just get to the matchup as soon as possible because I think everyone's looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it. There's a lot going on here. K1llsen and Raisy are two of some of the absolute best Quake players in the world right now. K1llsen, the QuakeCon champion. Raisy has an insanely consistent, like, top 3 attendance in tournament situations. Grand finals. He's won tournaments before. This is really a battle of champions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just mentioned it yourself. Both of these players have won major lands before, taken home the first place, the golden medal, and they are insanely skilled, insanely consistent, and without a shadow of a doubt, some of the absolute top players in the entire Quake Pro scene. And we've got the joy of watching them go heads to heads again. And just to again substantiate how good these players are, both of them have only lost one single match in Stage 2. That's it.
I mean, it's about time we have a quick chat about K1llsen while we have the graphic ready, the introduction, the QuakeCon 2019 champion. And he looks dominant almost the entire way through. Very few players could actually step it up to him. And, he has got that story of having a couple of, I say a couple, a bit of an understatement really, lands that he was just disappointed in his own performance. And he said at the very first QuakeCon in 2017 for Quake Champions, I was chatting to him and he was like, I will come back and I will win. I will start to win, mark my words.
And he did
exactly that last year at QuakeCon, defeating K1llsen in essentially the grand finals, right? The #1 prize match, the championship match. And it was a convincing win for him. And some of the best Quake champions he's ever played in his life.
Oh, yeah.
From that point on, it has just been a consistent level of excellence. And that's what, how you describe Raisy and K1llsen both in that way. But for K1llsen, it's aim. You very rarely... When's the last time you can remember a match where K1llsen didn't have this insane aim?
I mean, never. Basically, he used to be...
Railson.
Yeah, he used to have the nickname Railson, and then some people are like, where did Railson go? Because he didn't really quite live up to that. But then I feel like that's been coming back, and he's been hitting insane shots left and right, rather. But on the other hand, we definitely cannot discount Raisy either. The man has got some sick aim of his own, and also just his decision-making is top-notch as well. He's one of these players that is extremely good at just flipping the switch and being extremely reactive, from going really aggressively, super fast with the fastest champions in the game, to on the other hand...
And he's a cheeky,
oh my god, he is.
Well.
He is. He will go for the gauntlet when he feels like it, and he is not afraid to show off a little bit. There we go, just whipping it out.
If anyone doesn't follow Raisy on Twitter or Instagram or whatever social medias he uses, I suggest that you do, because he mostly uses those social media platforms to share highlights from his stream. Those highlights are normally just trolling to the absolute maximum level.
I think
at high ranked duels.
I think now that we're on this note as well, we should just give a shout out to all of the players. Keep in mind, every single player in the Quake Pro League, they've got their stream on Twitch, they've got their accounts on Twitter, you can follow them, they play, they stream themselves playing, practicing against other pros, giving advice and talking to all of their fans. So if that's something that you're interested in, do give them a quick search, because they're all available and you can find their socials everywhere.
Yeah, it's all over the graphics as well, so if you've got all the information you need, you can find it. But Raisy is one of those big ones that he just actively, kind of similar to Ahron, he's just one of those players that actively loves playing Quake Champions. He has fun with it. He plays weird champions for weird maps, stuff that you would never really expect, because he's just got so much talent at this point that he just makes anything work. Maybe not in a competitive setting. We have got the vetoes coming up, so we can see what the meta picks are going to be. But in the case of Raisy, he just has fun with it at all times.
Oh, absolutely.
In a competitive sense, that's dangerous.
And I mean, of course, his signature champion is up and running. The Clutch will be going up against K1llsen's Nyx on Blood Covenant, and that's going to be interesting. I think that's the first time today we've seen a light, small champion go up against a heavy, and that stack difference alone, that's enough to make any man think twice. Second map will be Awoken, that's Raisy's pick, where he is going with the Galena versus Visor.
I've just realized that's Raisy's Galena on Awoken.
Yeah.
The visor is going to have quite an important job to play here. You know, that piercing sight, it's not going to be just around where is Raisy. We have seen Raisy use Galena on Awoken in the past. He has had some insanely odd but effective totem placements on this map that are almost out of bounds, all over the map in weird locations. That piercing sight, K1llsen's going to have to make a lot of data installed in a very short space of time, because it's not going to just be where is Raisy, it's going to be, okay, he's here on the map, he's been here for a while, where are his totems likely to be? Because you cannot allow Raisy to fully set up for those very strange placements. Finishing things up on the Molten Falls, Anarchy versus K1llsen. Actually, we have just seen this exact matchup, Toxic versus Base, which Base was able to take by the skin of his teeth by the very end. The movement differences really came to play. Interested to see whether that happens again today.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting matchup nevertheless. Some really, really good picks, I feel like, for both champions, or for both players rather, but again, as you just said, I'm really looking forward to some of these matchups. I want to see the Clutch versus the Nyx. I want to see if Raisy can pull out more of these very creative totems. And then lastly, I want to see the speed of the Anarchy on Molten Falls.
At the same time, to see if there are two absolute top-level players using the exact same two champions we saw previously by other top-level champions. Just curious to see if they just bring a different edge to it, right? The same two champions, is this matchup going to get played out differently now? There are two different brains that approach Quake champions in a different light. It's just almost like a direct comparison to see if K1llsen, what if K1llsen's able to beat Raisy in maybe even, dare I say, convincing fashion in the same matchup? What's K1llsen going to be doing differently to shut down the Anarchy? There's so many different questions that we are about to answer. Me personally, I'm all about map number 1. K1llsen and Nyx, that's one of his absolute strongest champions, and he said he loves playing Nyx multiple times. It is one of his favorite picks. And then Raisy, clutch only Raisy, one of his, I guess, Smurf accounts at this point, managed to get to elite rank in ranked duel with just clutch, standalone. That's it, no one else. Just that one champion. He's had a couple of games practice, you could say. So overall, I think we're just in for some damn good games and a real learning experience for everyone watching.
I fully agree, and as you can see on the screen, K1llsen is currently ranked 4, Raisy is currently ranked 5, so neither are anywhere near the danger zone, but still, the points still matter for the placements, the seeding going into the LAN. And on that note, we're going to jump into our next matchup, starting off on K1llsen's point of view.
Well, K1llsen is going to be fresh off quite a victory last week, taking out Wenger, which is always quite the impressive player to take out on a weekly basis. You're going to see one Maestro player already defeated. Can he do it again this week? Yep.
And Raisy's most recent match was up against K1llsen, who he also beat, so both of these players have gotten some really important challenges and top-tier players out of the way in a convincing fashion. So these are really some of the very best that the European scene has to offer.
They call Raisy the God Slayer for a reason. There is no legendary player, really, that Raisy hasn't been able to bring it to over the years, establishing himself as one of the greatest players on the planet in a very short space of time, if you really think about it. But now K1llsen has that high ground established. The shield wall has been taken away, which does sort of bring the weakness of Clutch. He's fast and he's agile. One of the fastest champions in the absolute game. However, when that shield wall is not ready, he's a large lad, and weapons like the Rail, LG, and Super Shotgun will blow through his armor. Absolutely no chance.
Yeah, that was beautifully done by K1llsen. Just pelleting him over and over again with that railgun, and then finally deciding, you know what, he doesn't have the shield wall. I kind of know where he is because he wants to get the resources down there, and I'm just going to push him with the super shotgun. And of course, the larger the target, the more damage you're going to do with the shotgun. And that's a quick 2-0 for K1llsen up against Raisy's most notorious champion.
Raisy does approach Clutch in a unique manner, though. It is not one of those champions where he looks at these situations. Now, this is exactly what I'm talking about. K1llsen, you rarely catch him on a bad day with his aim, and he's going against who is essentially the easiest champion in the game to hit if you have a clean shot, thanks to the large hitbox. Now, Raisy approaches Clutch in a really interesting way for me. He knows he's going to take damage. Like, using this champion at this level of play, although it's a champion that is quite frustrating to fight against, it's not easy to play clutch this
Not
way
at all.
because you are going to take damage. Very few rails will miss you. If you're in LG range, you're going to take more damage than anyone because they're not going to miss. So Raisy goes into every fight, he knows he's going to take all this damage. So his goal is to just be as fast and in your face as physically possible, all while at the same time trying to hit more shots than you are against him. It's a combination of lightning fast movement and crazy accuracy that, Raisy is one of the only players I think that can put those together regularly.
Oh my
Shield
god!
wall is gone. K1llsen looks unfazed by this champion, making clutch look like not so much of a threat at all.
I mean, to pick up on what you just said, I believe it was the Hang who said that playing clutch, when someone asked him if, like, why are you not playing clutch anymore as much as you used to, and he was just like, clutch is just very situational. He's a very big risk to play, because once you get caught in like a bad streak of events, kind of like how Raisy is right now, he's just getting hit over and over again with those brilliant rails from K1llsen. It's so difficult to do anything with the big robot.
I mean, it's the fact of the matter is, K1llsen is not missing his shots. And that is why it just feels like Clutch is completely unable to get anything going. Tries to get in and out, but he's left himself completely open. I mean, he can only go so fast, right? There's a rail angle, and a swift 5-0 for K1llsen so far. A very comfortable lead.
I'd love to see K1llsen's railgun accuracy right now. I feel like it's 60 plus at least, maybe even 70 plus. He's almost not missing a single shot for the time being. And it shows. Raisy just unable to find any way into this map, even though, just look at the stack differences. Raisy can just absolutely dwarf K1llsen, even if K1llsen has picked up major items, but K1llsen is not allowing him. He's just doing so much damage over and over again.
And now,
okay.
This is the potential to maybe begin a comeback, right? You need to catch him off spawn. Raisy was looking for a spawn trap but didn't quite get it. But he has to try and constantly get K1llsen when K1llsen hasn't quite got all the weapons. Now, there is a contrast. We're talking about how easy Clutch is to hit. He's up against the Nyx, who is one of the harder champions in the game to shoot. She's a small character, which kind of automatically means Raisy's trying to run 1,000,000 miles an hour using that air dash passive that only Clutch has. But he's up against a champion who is kind of notoriously hard to rail in some of these situations while he's going so fast. So whilst it's very easy for K1llsen to hit the shots, it's not so easy for Raisy to hit hits.
Still, it's not gonna let him phase him too much. Raisy popping the shield wall, so this is a good opportunity for K1llsen if he wants to again assert some more dominance. It's a race for heavy right now. K1llsen decides not to even go for it, so he's just gonna let Raisy hit that. Look at that 200 armor. That's insane.
Give it to me.
Yeah, that's juicy to say the least. K1llsen, he's gotta hit a whole lot of rails to put a dent in that.
But this is K1llsen. If anyone can do that, it's him, for
It's
sure.
him, absolutely.
But now he doesn't necessarily have to. He can be defensive and elusive. The danger is, I mean, like, you can only really run away from Clutch for so long because he is so fast. It is not easy to run away from this champion the entire game. However, the LG is looking real good, but the shield wall purely being used just to deny, reduce the damage, and now he can be aggressive on spawn again. The question is, where is the spawn? Looks like Raisy has an idea, but he's still keeping an eye out. Good shot. Looking to push this even further. And, oh, beautiful use of heavy machine gun. That's going to delete. Absolutely. And Raisy's in big trouble here. And this should be a frag for K1llsen. Yeah, gets the final shot he's looking for. Crazy how the 5-minute warning's only just really come about. This has been quite a fast map.
I mean, 15 damage a pop with the heavy machine gun when you're a target the size of Clutch. It's like missing a barn door. It's next to impossible to do, and Raisy taking full advantage of that. Or K1llsen rather, without having access to the rail just yet. He's low though, and Raisy knows it's gonna hear those low health screams. K1llsen not gonna pop.
Perfect timing on the Mega, and finishes the job. That is calculated. K1llsen knows he can get the Mega in time, doesn't need to use the Ghost Walk, and has another frag in the bank.
Yeah,
he's played this matchup so well, Flea.
I was about to point it out as well. K1llsen just knows that he's got those things behind him and that he doesn't have to push the Ghost Walk, even though a lot of lesser players absolutely would have gone for the ability right there. The get out of jail free card. Here we go. He's landing a lot of damage, but it's Raisy who finds the kill shot and gets the Mega for his troubles as well. 5 frags in 3 minutes. It's possible. It's possible.
It is what Clutch does best. That very few champions can snowball as fast as he can, purely based on movement alone. And the fact that all he has to do is just pop that damage reduction, and he's in business. Thing is, K1llsen, Ghost Walk is down, but he's hitting all these shots. That should be a free frag. Raisy he maintains his crazy count of armor, he's not going to be too upset. And now full speed ahead. Most champions aren't able to make chase. Clutch can. Oh, the gauntlet. Actually, good win there for K1llsen, getting 2 of them.
Yeah,
oh, that
that's
rail.
a lot of damage.
Nasty.
150 damage out of nowhere. Raisy has to think twice before pushing in, but he will find himself some armor. He will find himself the Mega. This is bad!
Perfect read on where K1llsen's going to go, but now he has to make a second read. Where has he gone after the Ghost Walk? And it looks like not quite sure. He's heard the pickup, so he knows where he is now, but yeah, that initial read to force out the Ghost Walk, great situation there for Raisy now. It's going to be down for a little while.
This brings me back to the days that Clutch also was able to see Nyx in her invisibility when using the shield.
It was a long time ago.
K1llsen's going to be happy that that's no longer in the game.
That's been in the game since actually, for a very, very, very long time. As long as I can remember playing Quake Champions, it's been in the game.
Yeah.
Before launch, I'm sure of it.
Raisy is going to find K1llsen, but the Ghost Walk will be popped. There we go. K1llsen landing a shot in the back. Stacks pretty similar right now. There we go. That's going to be good for the robot, but no K1llsen!
Looked a little bit like he just didn't quite activate the shield wall.
A little too late, I felt like.
Yeah, right before death. You know, it is insane how much a matchup will change when a small, vital detail like that gets adjusted. You know, Clutch hasn't been able to see Nyx through the shield wall for a very long time. Absolutely ages. It's got to be almost a year at this point, if not a year. I can't remember when it was last changed. It's been so long.
It's been a long time, that's for sure.
But what a difference it's made. The rail's coming out. Now Raisy, full speed, beautiful. That was a fantastic rail. And there's still a chance for him to win here. He can't push in super hard now, though. The danger, he's very weak.
Oh, and an angle, a very brief and minute one, but there we go. Raisy, can he get the shot of the spawn? No, K1llsen manages to dodge it just in time.
All right, 2 frags.
A minute to go. Yeah, this is possible.
Ghost Walk's not up.
This is his shot. Raisy, no Ghost Walk for another 10 seconds.
He has to heal up, though. He can't give up too many rail angles. Ghost Walk is available. That's an opportunity for K1llsen to waste time. Now it's been forced. Ghost Walk used
and
early.
He picked a heavy too. Raisy just lost out on heavy.
And he's getting caught on the terrain trying to navigate. K1llsen, by all accounts, really should be able to play this runaway game. If Raisy gets him now and gets a good spawn, this comeback is still possible. But Raisy does not have a lot of time to work with. He has to find him. He has to find him now. He's going for the Mega. Looking for the Mega.
Oh, no.
He's not going to be two-faced about that just yet. He has to take it and accept it. He has to try and win this fight, but he can't. The LG is too real. Clutch. If you're within LG range, you are going to take maximum damage. And K1llsen has played this matchup surgically. Absolutely fantastic performance, and that was just map number 1. But he made that Clutch not look so threatening after all.
I really don't think that Raisy managed to go, or wanted to go back on the bounce pad right there. I think he just kind of flew by a little too fast using the dash, and then before he knew it, it was right back up towards Mega. And then K1llsen just had a really good setup to finish that fight. Well played.
Not a lot of players out there can make Raisy's Clutch not look just like this crazy overwhelming force. You know, K1llsen went into that matchup with a gauge on how to play it. You know, it was very rail heavy, I mean, very aim heavy in general. But the second it began, we could see players like Raisy were being hyper aggressive at the very beginning. It was all about this understanding of, look, I know I'm going to take damage, so I need to try and be as hard to hit as possible while hitting more shots than you are.
Yeah.
And K1llsen just didn't let him do that, and it was not a problem. He almost hit every rail to begin with, and that just started to snowball. Raisy did start to get back up on a little bit, but pretty much at all time, that was K1llsen's game, and it was just aim and constant damage. It outweighed the speed and the overwhelming factor of Clutch.
Definitely true, and very good attempt from, or very good success rather, from K1llsen winning that so nicely. And this really was just a masterclass at the start on how to deal with Clutch. And Raisy did around like the second half of the map, was able to stabilize a little bit here and there, but just never able to really get back into it. And I think that we're gonna come up to those frags soon, where Raisy finally starts turning things around and switches on the afterburners. But there we go, K1llsen picking up the Mega just in time. What a beautiful play.
But Raisy still had some phenomenal moments.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Some of his rails were disgusting. That was actually
The
quite a
double
big
pummel.
win there for K1llsen, because it put Raisy significantly behind after that. The double pummel at the very last minute. It really was kind of the max damage he could get in those circumstances, but
Yeah, like right up the bounce pad. I really don't think that was intentional.
And Raisy at that point, he had 15 seconds. I mean, he had to pile in. No choice left after that. But
Nope, nothing you can do about that.
Well done to K1llsen for getting that first map. I mean, that's the kind of map that I can imagine is quite stressful. Even though K1llsen looked comfortable, like he didn't look out of his element there against Clutch at all. He still played the matchup perfectly well, and I can imagine it's a bit of a mental strain after that. But map's done. Now he has to win one more to make it at least a 2-0. We'll see if he can pull it off.
I hope both players manage to keep their composure after that one. K1llsen definitely is going to be feeling good about himself, but Raisy, Clutch is his favorite champion. So often do people just ban Clutch from the moment they can, so when he's actually able to play it, and then he loses to someone like K1llsen, I hope that doesn't put too much of a dent in his confidence and that he's able to step into this next map awoken with a fresh sense for a fight. Raisy will be playing the Galena, so we've got to keep an eye out for the totems.
This is really the magic word, totems. Raisy is such a kind of like a lab monster, right? He's happy to sit there in training mode. And not say training mode, wrong genre right there, but he's happy to just sit there in custom games and just prepare for all these weird little locations. And it has come about consistently in Quake Pro League, where he's all about just these unorthodox totem placements that go undetected for the course of an entire map. I do wonder if K1llsen is going to be able to scout them out and deal with them. Because right now, Raisy is falling victim to a couple of just walking around the corner, bam, K1llsen's there. And he's ready.
Yeah, here we see one of the things that K1llsen just loves to do, and that is to just sit on the center of the map. You see it time and time again.
We can already see a totem, actually. It's in the skies.
One floating above ominously, the other one is outside the map towards Railgun, so Raisy expertly hiding his totems. And I remember the first time we saw him do that, we were both like, there's no way that Raisy can actually get to them to get the healing. And then he nail jumps off the wall and gets himself the totem somehow. It is still one of the sickest things I've seen in Quake. Whoa, that's also a very nice strat. Putting himself on the ledge right there and then rocket jumping at such an angle that there's really no way for K1llsen to see him. Fortunately for Raisy, he didn't quite make it through.
He's doing a lot of cool things, but it's not enough to prevent this 3-0 so far.
Oh.
One of those elements. You saw that angle with the rocket jump. This is exactly what I mean with Raisy. I don't know what it is about Raisy and Awoken in particular. He will go into these custom game scenarios and just look for this weird stuff. You know, there are all of these unique angles, or these really, I mean, even that was kind of risky actually, going off map. All it took was one wayward rail and he was going to be off maps there, ring out. But yeah, Raisy, he's always got tricks up his sleeve, hasn't he?
Oh, surely he does.
No, he has. There's always more than one. And, oh my, what K1llsen just unfazed by any of this, by the way.
Even
just
leaving up the
solid.
Mega to go deal some opening damage to Raisy. That's just demoralizing too for Raisy, because he spawns and immediately he's on the back foot, and then he's got to work his way back up. Clever play from Raisy not to go through the teleporter, gets a good read on his opponent. I don't think there's many totems left on the map right now, so Raisy has not been able to establish that totem supremacy that he's sometimes able to do. Now K1llsen again using the piercing sight. Raisy of course knows very well that that ability has been used, so he doesn't show himself, just stays around the banana side of the map, playing it slowly.
Yeah, we've seen what happens with Raisy when he's able to get that string of just fortification. And it looks almost like undefeatable. The thing is, it's getting that initial setup that has been a real problem for him so far. That's a great opening rocket. K1llsen still looking to be a little bit aggressive. He knows the Mega's about to spawn, and these rails have been fantastic. Doesn't need a rail to finish the job, even with those small health that he's picked up. He's in a great position to just run in and just steal away this Mega now, and it forced Raisy to retreat. He had no choice but to concede. And now K1llsen looking for more. Rails are so good, looking for another one. Is he going to give him an angle? Piercing sight used, but there really was no angle to be had there.
K1llsen faking the rocket jump instead, just in case Raisy would be waiting over towards the railgun side of the map. Raisy over towards LG. There we go, putting down the totem, getting some healing, but he's in such a bad spot. K1llsen doesn't quite send him off the map. 1 point of health,
no,
Raisy!
Rail! That is an uncharacteristic miss from Raisy.
That's a shame. Even a machine gun bullet, a single one of those would have gotten him the frag, but K1llsen, the defensive rockets were on point and Raisy unable to do the damage. But still, K1llsen right now, even though he picked up Mega and Heavy, he's only at around 100 in stack, so Raisy is basically on equal footing. This might be an opportunity for him to get back into it.
K1llsen's looking for those cheeky, piercing sight rails just around the corner. One of those tricky shots where you're trying to give up as little as your own hitbox as possible while having a shot. And it really is a fraction of a second that you have an angle there. Now K1llsen keeping an eye out.
Oh, he's looking for something, and I think I know what.
He's got the wrong idea there.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's up there.
The idea is there. It's just not where he thinks it is. I feel like this might be one of those undetected totems throughout the course of the entire map. But those totems have not had much bearing. It's a 5-0. The 5-minute warning is coming out. K1llsen looking, dare I say, just unfazed by Raisy today. Really looks like things just haven't quite gone Raisy's way.
Yep. Oh, and that's another nice rocket. Around 70 points of damage coming out right there.
And K1llsen just kind of playing that sort of semi-aggressive and defensive kind of combined. It's that efficient style of K1llsen where it feels like he's really laying the pressure on while at the same time giving as little to the opponent as possible. That's what he's doing with Raisy here.
Right now, though, it looks like K1llsen kind of losing control, but that defensive rocket, that might be what saves him. No, Raisy's LG is just a tad stronger, but can he actually make something out of it? This has been his first frag of the second map. The rockets are solid, and he gets a frag. There we go. Raisy, 2 in quick succession. Can any more follow?
And thanks to the totem placements, he's just about to get another totem back. The overstack is available. He has all 3 on the map right now. K1llsen, he can change to be slightly more defensive if he wants to. There's still a lot of this map left. But this is where the fortification comes in. But these totems haven't been dealt with so far. Throws down another one, and a trade. Who's going to spawn near the rockets? Oh, what a spawn for Raisy.
Gets everything. The overstack, the rockets, K1llsen doing some self-damage right there, it felt like.
Yeah, it seems like K1llsen was kind of not prepared to get launched as high as he did. I can't say I blame him. Oh my word. Raisy, if there's an avenue to come back, this is that right now. Has to detour though, because he does need the LG. You know, the rocket's only going to get him so far. But this is a real opportunity.
Now the rails, the final weapon he needs. K1llsen does have it, allowing him to get some free damage off right there. And now Raisy, just gonna get himself the Mega. Railgun, the final weapon he needs, and set up for heavy. There's 3 minutes left to go for just 2 frags, and that's perfectly fine for a map like Awoken.
Yeah, K1llsen was half looking for that angle down there. Couldn't quite catch the feet. But now, Raisy being real careful. He has the Mega in his mind. Totem comes down, but it does get destroyed quite quickly. Who's going to win in this rocket 1v1? Both players kind of missing their mark, but K1llsen lands the dangerous rocket at the last second, and he's in and out with access to that Mega. K1llsen's going in, full speed ahead. Raisy doesn't want to give too much. He really is a wonderful block. The problem is he's on 56 health, so gets one rail, as I was just about to say. That's going to become 6-3, and just in time for the heavy. K1llsen, his timing is immaculate. Yeah. Whenever he gets an important frag, it always seems to be just in time for that one major item to spawn right in front of him afterwards. And that ain't no coincidence, that's just the K1llsen effect.
And the Mega is right there, just as you said it. Perfect timing, the Mega topping him up nicely as he jumps backwards away from Raisy. Now Heavy is about to spawn. K1llsen has got the top ground, the high ground rather, and Raisy, riding right behind him. K1llsen a little bit taken by surprise right there, but Raisy just not quite standing on the item itself. Denying that would have been a really good play even if he did go down, but the rails, they're murderous. Raisy
out of rockets though.
Yeah.
So Raisy's gonna arguably live to fight another day. I don't know how long that's gonna last, giving up one of the totems, but who cares? The stack is massive.
K1llsen doesn't even care. He didn't even flinch, look around. No care whatsoever. He's just like, I'll take it, I know I'm in the lead anyways. Raisy's LG pretty solid, but K1llsen just with the massive stack advantage is gonna net him that frag. And now 1 minute and 30 seconds left. This is looking really dire for Raisy.
Being able to consistently outstack a Galena when she has a lot of totems available is also no easy feat. It's a testament really to the control that K1llsen's brought to the table, and the fact that every time a fight happens, he always seems to have more than enough stack to get the job done. And just look at how many rails just deny even a small ounce of a comeback. He's even looking for those cheeky angles off the jump pad. Now that's a tight shot, but definitely possible. K1llsen more than capable of taking it. But now with the 1 minute warning, I mean, surely this has to be a 2-0. What a result here from K1llsen, and in dominant fashion. I gotta say, he has absolutely ran away with this one, both maps.
It's definitely looking that way indeed, and Raisy, he doesn't have many totems to work with at this point either, and he just doesn't have the time to get them set up anymore. He has to push, he has to put out the damage, and K1llsen right now, he knows the match is basically over. He's just gonna try and slow play it a little bit, land some more of those juicy rails. My goodness, the rail was absolutely an important factor this map for K1llsen. He just, every single time that it looked like Raisy was going to do anything, K1llsen was just right there. Like Raisy picks up Mega after a really hard fought battle, and K1llsen's just like, oh, there you go, Mega. Well, there we go. 90% of that Mega's gone already. How do you like them apples? As we are going to jump into the third and final map. K1llsen is just gonna...
GG's.
Yeah. GG's. He says, I can do the same thing, Raisy. This not just your spot. And there we go, K1llsen beautifully taking this 2-0 already with the third map still coming up.
So we're now going on to Molten Falls, which is kind of that final opportunity. Neither of these players are really... I'd say neither of them are worried about points. That's definitely a lie. They both want to be number one.
Of course.
That does go without saying from any conversations you have with them. But a 2-0 against Raisy is a fantastic outcome there for K1llsen. And in the fashion of which it's gone down, I gotta say, I didn't expect it. It feels like, I'm not sure what's happened with Raisy today, but K1llsen has brought that next level, absolutely. And he was ready. Yeah, there's no two ways about it. Even down there, you know, these small pieces of optimization where he had the funky totem placement, he had those, angle prevention, where he was kind of using the rocket jumps to get through and make sure that K1llsen can't get a shot on him. It's all cute stuff, but fundamentally, K1llsen just had the control. You know, K1llsen was the one that just ran away with this map, and it took 5.5 minutes for Raisy to get a single frag here.
Seeing these matches come out of K1llsen, I really feel like he's again reaching his top potential. Not that he hasn't necessarily been there in the previous few weeks, but the closer we're getting to the LAN, of course, players are going to start taking everything increasingly seriously, and that's just really what K1llsen is doing right now. And if you remember, basically the end of Stage 1, the start, or the end of the kickoff essentially, in the beginning of Stage 1, K1llsen was just incredible. Like, no one could touch the man other than Cooler, and then he just schooled Cooler quite a few times in a row, so it really feels like K1llsen is again approaching this nearly flawless play, I almost want to say.
I mean, he's demonstrating it today. We still have one more map to get through to see whether that's just going to continue. Either way, he's going to get the victory over Raisy. I mean, yeah, I've got to go on record and say I did not think it would be as one-sided as it seemed. I know on the first map there was an element there for Raisy to make a comeback, but for most of that map as well, K1llsen kind of just put a lid on it.
Yeah.
You know, against Raisy's clutch, it's all about just being able to take that high energy, put a jar lid on top, and then just let him run around. And it's kind of like easy to land those shots when you contain it that way.
Yeah, and we're gonna see if the same thing happens on the final map, because if you remember correctly, this is Molten Falls. We've got Anarchy, really fast one up against the K1llsen, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a bit of a repeat of what we saw earlier, and gonna be very interesting to see what the outcome is going to be, and if he can maybe put a lid on the Anarchy speed this time around too.
I mean, it's a trait of K1llsen to demonstrate no fear and to absolutely, under no circumstances, ever be overwhelmed by something.
Yeah.
It was a while ago now, but I remember K1llsen versus Toxic at an early stage, and that was, if memory serves, it was Blood Run as the first map. Toxic took that convincingly by just this surprise aggression. And it looked like even K1llsen wasn't ready for it. And that first map, we were like, damn, that was some pretty one-sided gameplay that none of us were expecting. And then the other two maps were almost like a complete reverse, because K1llsen, it almost looked like he was not ready in map 1. I was like, okay, well, I know what I'm up against now. And the other two maps were very much K1llsen just being prepared for the speed and the pace, and that's all there is to it. Matching the accuracy and not being intimidated by the speed, that's a trait that K1llsen brings regularly to an era of competitive. And I'm curious to see if he can do the same thing against Raisy.
On that note, bit of a delay coming out of K1llsen. He's leaving Heavy up slightly longer than he had to, offsetting the items a bit. If he gets control right now at the start, that leaves him a very nice position to not only take Mega, but also be on Heavy on time.
There we go. K1llsen, once again, with a nice stack and then some, thanks to the Mega being collected. And he's already got all the weapons he could want. All goes for the turnaround rail, but it's not going to quite hit its mark. Some beautiful rockets coming out from Raisy, but he needs a little bit more than that. But that is going to be enough to force K1llsen away. And that defensive rocket is that one ticket that stops Raisy from pressing too hard.
Yeah, that was pretty much a lifesaver if you ask me. Raisy absolutely could have gotten a quick early frag with that one, but K1llsen landing a direct on a squishy champion like Anarchy without a lot of stack to go with it. Raisy taking a rail from the side, not ready for that one at all. And right now the next major item will be heavy. K1llsen setting up down below, Raisy coming from above. No clue that he's there, and then springs the trap. But Raisy, what? No. 3 points of health.
Oh, he springs the trap on him, and he's 3 health short of being able to ambush. That is a feels bad man if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Well, it's the thought that counts sometimes, Flea.
Absolutely, and of course, K1llsen so far, he's riding the high of winning the first 2 maps, so he should have no issues bouncing back from that. It would have been a lot worse if Raisy set a trap like that and then died, because that would have been extremely demoralizing after already losing twice. But that's absolutely not the case, so I'm fully expecting K1llsen to bounce back from this one. Nice LG from Raisy.
The immediate speed boost of the injection being popped just to dodge that rhythm of the rockets. And now he's looking to chase it down. Gets a rail. Needs a little bit more than that. K1llsen tender, but still alive. Unlikely he's going to immediately push in and try and get the Mega. And a couple of shouts to Quake 2 to finish the job.
Yeah, the beautiful super shotgun skill.
I love how it's even got the same sounds. Like it's...
It's good. It's good.
Best weapon in Quake 2 from like visuals and sound. I love it.
Raisy, are you just going to ignore the turrets? You can't do that forever. He's going to take the fight. It's going to work out for him.
But when you're as kind of clued up as Raisy, you almost have that mental rhythm for when the turret's going to fire and what the trajectory is going to be before you even look at it. I think that was just, he knew he was going to dodge it without even having to look at the turret, and he has to focus on the task at hand.
Absolutely.
Optimized, if anything. Very impressive.
Nice rail shot as well. Raisy has the stack advantage. And he's already building up quite a bit of that overstack health. 4 points of it already. Doesn't sound like all that much, but it definitely adds up over time. And he's nowhere near done getting that extra boost to his character. Mega up in just a few seconds. K1llsen's holding that top ground. Raisy playing a bit of a forward game, not immediately going for the item, but rather scouting just to see if K1llsen makes a mistake by being anywhere near the item. K1llsen, fortunately for him, wasn't around at all, so gets away scot-free. And now Raisy has got a very, very nice rotation going on.
And we did see kind of shades of this when Base went head-to-head versus Toxic. Just it was recently the exact same matchup. Can he get the LG? Finally manages to. The turret at the last second contributing. Now, the issue we saw between Tox and Base was that the turret only started to matter until, like, the final frag. Other than that, it was a matter of movement. Anarchy was essentially running rings around Isen. Curious to see how this is going to change. The turret already had a little bit more presence than it has in the last time we saw this matchup.
Yep. Who knows? Maybe it's because they're both German. Both Isen and K1llsen, maybe that's played part of the pick.
It's their synergy.
It is. Players like Rafa, they will go for super meta. I want to have the skin that matches the projectiles to him closest, but K1llsen's like, nah. This is my brother. We work well together.
I always think sometimes that the champion of one of the lands should just have their own skin. K1llsen Isen skin. Cooler as visor.
Would be wonderful. K1llsen right now looking super stacked. Raisy struggling to get a hold of anything. Doesn't even have all the armor that he would like. Mega will be up in 10 seconds. K1llsen's got the better position. Crone set up a trap. There we go. That's one good rocket. Make it 2. Beautiful. Raisy going down like that, and that sets K1llsen up perfectly to pick up the Mega.
Hitting those kind of rockets on an Anarchy as well with the increased air control, that is not as easy as it looks. Raisy put into an absolute terrible situation just in time for the 5-minute warning. K1llsen looked like Raisy had quite a strong grasp on this, and it's very quickly running away from him. Some fantastic LG coming out. Raisy's going to fall for another time. And actually, just like that, flick your fingers. It's now going to be 4-3. K1llsen, this 3-0 starts looking a lot more viable very quickly.
There goes K1llsen, Raisy. Rather, K1llsen will have a perfect clue of where he is, just using the sound. That hoverboard makes a lot of sound. There we go, Raisy does manage to get the frag, but this is something that you have to be mindful of. The hoverboard, it makes a lot of sound. It's one of Anarchy's few weaknesses. So you gotta be mindful of that when you're just skating and hovering around the map. Raisy once again 1 point in the lead. He's got the position on Mega. There we go. Not able to do any damage whatsoever. Still 0 damage done. And he just lets K1llsen slip on by. What was that all about? Raisy just pushing him with rockets, not doing a single point of damage. And K1llsen's just like, well, if you insist, I'll just walk right on by you and pick up the item. Don't you worry. Thank you.
A series of unfortunate events right there. But so far, Raisy keeps a lead. It's only a little bit of a lead, and he has to be very mindful that that heavy just got collected. A beautiful rail. Looks for a second, but can't quite hit the angle. And oh my word! Hello.
K1llsen. Really low, absolutely irregular, could have died to a million things, and he just jumps right back at it. Raisy just completely not expecting that at all, and that is such an aggressive, ballsy move from K1llsen, and it paid off beautifully.
That's the kind of play where if it doesn't work, you look kind of silly, but if it does, God. An absolute God. K1llsen looking to combo, but again, the danger of fighting against an Anarchy is that increased air movement. Just because you've knocked him up with a rocket launcher doesn't necessarily mean that you can get the free rail afterwards. It's always kind of unpredictable where he's going to go after. But here we go now. K1llsen looking to set things up. Hits a rail versus Raisy, looking for a little bit more thanks to the light armor. This fight just became a lot more in his favor, and if Raisy wants to stick around for this, he's dancing with the devil, really! And he tries to back up. The rail finishes it, and again, K1llsen's taken the lead. Quite a back and forth so far. But fresh off the spawn, it's likely Raisy only really has the LG to work with here.
This feels like the most balanced game we've seen so far between the two of them, as opposed to the first and second map that seemed to, for the most part, be heavily in K1llsen's favor. This one's really just been more of a seesaw. It's going left, it's going right. K1llsen, Raisy, both just constantly fighting for control. No one really pulling away with a consistent frag lead. Raisy knows that he's there, just ducks and dives, getting the item and bailing instantly.
Both times he went past the Mega, though, he was able to avoid taking damage from the rail, but he's knocked up, and there goes the injection. Kind of bad news for Raisy, really, as K1llsen trying to make sure he has the heavy before he even thinks about going up the jump pad, decides at the last minute not to, tries to chase it down instead. We're still quite a while away, actually, until the Mega spawns, so there's an opportunity here for K1llsen. Chase this one down. Raisy.
I like the turret play right there. Just throw turret one side, go the other side yourself, just splitting your opponent's attention. And Raisy, I think, playing it a little bit too freely right there, going all the way around Rocket again, and then he was just too late to show up for the Mega, and it ended up costing him not only the item, but also the frag as well. And now a minute and a half left, 2 frags is going to be difficult.
It's not really K1llsen's style either to kind of get overwhelmed last minute by that kind of thing. It's very common of K1llsen, especially against these high mobility gods, to just dig his heels in and set up shop. And just set up that trail of LG or that rail, whatever it may be. He is often the one that's very ready for you to come around that corner.
I love how K1llsen runs out of LG mid-fight and he's just like, you know what? I don't need consistent easy damage. I'm just gonna flick it off with the rail and get myself the kill. And right now, this is desperation mode for Raisy. 3 frags, 1 minute. It's possible. We hear the 1 minute warning, but it's crunch time right now.
Always harder on a larger map to get those string of frags in. K1llsen just needs to waste a little bit of time for it to be enough, you know, for delaying the spawns and evading for as long as you can, really. That turret's going to block off just a little bit here. 40 seconds left. K1llsen already managing to waste 20 of those seconds, and with 3 frags left to go, this is looking kind of bleak for Raisy. K1llsen just evading him as much as possible. Wonderful rocket placement, and if it wasn't over before, it is now.
That seals the deal. It's going to be a 3-0 for K1llsen. Raisy put in the effort, fought hard, but it ultimately wasn't good enough. And I think that this is basically a mirror of what we saw earlier between Tox and Base, right? That was convincingly won by the Anarchy, who used the speed perfectly to his favor. But this time around, it was K1llsen with the Isen, who's just gonna set up on top of the pillar. Just putting himself, it's basically like on the podium, right? He gets himself on the top seat on the podium. Just, I am the champion indeed. The
baby.
cheetah.
But that's going to be, a fantastic win for K1llsen. 3-0 versus Maestro Raisy. That is an insane outcome. But if anything, that is just a clear example of the form K1llsen is currently looking at. Making him, if he wasn't already, still to this day one of the most dangerous names going into the Stage 2 finals,
Yep.
and kind of feeling like he could beat anybody. Raisy has this crazy level of consistency against basically everybody in the world. K1llsen just won that with a 3-0.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a message if anything else.
Absolutely, and I feel like the two players that so far have impressed me the most today have been K1llsen and Cypher. Today, out of the matches that we've seen, both of those have just absolutely been playing insanely well, making very few mistakes and just consistently outclassing their opponent every single step of the way. So huge props to both of these players.
It's efficiency, isn't it? When you think of K1llsen and you think of what makes him so good, it is the fact that he so rarely does the wrong thing. Everything he does is calculated, backed up by phenomenal aim, accuracy through the roof, and just how often do you see K1llsen make a mistake?
Very rarely. Absolutely. Gonna see a bit of a recap of the highlights, the frags of this matchup. And here at the start of the game, you can very clearly see that it's actually Raisy pulling ahead, but then K1llsen just setting up shop. LG together with the turret, so nice, and then this beautiful rocket, but
so good.
Yeah, knocking Raisy right into that one, and then he just started stringing together more and more damage, and Raisy was still able to do a few things here and there, but overall, it was the K1llsen show from minute 5 onwards.
Kind of surprising to see. You very rarely see Raisy lose in this fashion.
Yeah.
It's not all the time you see a constant 3-0 against Raisy. He's normally someone that will 3-0 the rest of the competition.
Yeah.
That is just the reputation that he's built for himself, right? But like I said before, this is just a pure message going into the Stage 2 finals. Raisy, he gave a few things ago. I do wonder if this is going to potentially send somewhat of a maybe time to think. There's a potential that Raisy, there's a couple of picks here that didn't work the way I really thought they would, and maybe even Raisy thought too. Like the big one, that first pick on the clutch, against someone who was fully clued up and utterly prepared for that matchup, the clutch didn't seem so much of a threat.
Yeah.
So you almost wonder against, if Raisy were to face off against K1llsen again at the Stage 2 finals, is he going to pick clutch again? Was this just an opportunity to just get information? Get an important download on someone who absolutely you have a opportunity to go head-to-head against.
I think it will depend a lot on the form, on the shape that K1llsen is in, because so much of that convincing win depended on K1llsen's aim. His rail, right? The railgun was essentially what kept the clutch at bay consistently, never allowed him to reach his full potential and get that maximum stack going. And so if K1llsen isn't able to deliver and bring that to the table at a LAN, I could totally see Raisy once again pick the clutch. But of course, it's difficult to tell what shape your opponent's going to be in exactly, so.
Okay, so we have one more series of the night to go through. Thanks for sticking with us so far for week number 8 of Stage 2 of the Quake Pro League. It's going to be Rafa versus Cygib as our final series of the night. But while we set up that lobby, we have a little interview with Maestro Raisy. So see you guys in a few minutes.